I had a full exhale when I beat this game, because it was an ordeal. I beat 2 games today. I planned to write the script for that game once I finished writing this one, but I dealt with a ton of pain while trying to beat this game, since it isn't something that is explicitly stated. So I'll explain what I meant first, and then actually start this review. So in this game, you aren't really allowed to beat the game until you finish all the side quests and buy a bunch of properties. This would be fine if the properties were shown on the map so you knew which places were up for purchase. Sadly, you didn't really know where anything was unless you drove around and saw it. Now, something not told to you, unless you look it up, is that you need about 5 to 6 properties that are making money. In order for them to make money, you have to do their missions or basically do some weird side quests for them. For the Sunrise car dealership, you have to find cars and deliver them. For the ice cream place, you have to deal drugs to 50 people without getting arrested, which I got close a few times, but you have to stop in order to deal drugs. That means that the cops can easily pull you out of the car if you aren't paying attention. Thankfully, the other properties were easier because all you needed to do was do specific missions for the places, except for the strip club. You needed to spend about $300 in a lap dance, which took a while, since Tommy dropped $5 every few minutes on his sad performance. She just had no ass, he was just throwing nothing. He was throwing back. Just full back. And I was just like, what is this shit? I just looked away. I was like, I don't want to see this shit. Put my fucking Steam Deck down and didn't give a fuck. I was like, I'm just wasting money at this point. It would be easier, it'd be better to burn money at this point. Like, that's how bad that performance was. I would make more investment burning my fucking money than what I did in that fucking strip club. She works hard for the money. So hard for the money. So Vice City was an improved version of Grand Theft Auto 3, but still had the charm of the previous game. It's like, I'm not adding this in, but like, you know how hard it is to fucking say Grand Theft Auto and not GTA? Because it's ingrained in my mind to say GTA. It's never ingrained in my mind to say Grand Theft Auto. We all know it as GTA. Nobody really calls it Grand Theft Auto. We just call it GTA. Like, I don't want to call it Grand Theft Auto, but that's the name of the fucking game. Like, even you see it right now, it says Grand Theft Auto. Nobody fucking calls it Grand Theft Auto. We see GTA. That's it. You just say GTA, call it a day. You saying Grand Theft Auto, you sound like a fucking cop. Like, it's fucking weird, dude. It's fucking weird. Now, the sad thing is that the game still has the same flaw of not having checkpoints. So when I hear of checkpoints, I think there are multiple checkpoints and not just one. The only checkpoint is when you start the mission, and that is it. I kinda wish there were multiple checkpoints, because there's nothing more aggravating than having to do the same thing multiple times, which is sadly what I did throughout this whole playthrough. This is why it took so long to complete this game. I want to hope that San Andreas has manual saves, but I am doubtful. But I have to say this game is already a step up from 3 when it comes to saves. In GTA 3, you have to rely on autosave and couldn't manually save in game. The thing with this game is you start off only really being able to save in one place, but once you get your own place, you can save there. Then once you start acquiring properties, you can save there as well, which means you have multiple places to save. That just means you don't have to go far to save. Also, health in this game is thankfully more available, but still not to a point I would be happy. So once you acquire your place, you are able to get a refilling supply of health, armor, and guns. That way, you can top up after every mission, so you're prepared for everything. Also, if you are smarter than me, that is saving a different save slot before every mission, then good on you. I tend to just save on one save file. If I didn't have armor on the mission, that was just without armor, especially if the mission was timed. Remember that there is only one checkpoint. It usually only saves when you first took the mission, which means it doesn't matter if you ran to get armor after the cutscene finished. You had to do everything over again, which made it hard for me to care about doing everything with advantage. I tended to just look for the worst ways to complete the mission instead of enjoying them. So story was a big step up compared to the first game because we had a character that had personality and could talk. Also, the story felt more personal because of that. We are Tommy Vassetti, a former killer from the mob who was made to get money for our leader. We have to go on random missions and deal with different characters in the pursuit of finding out where the money went missing. We also make connects and start to build a name for ourselves and start to think for ourselves. We aren't just a killer, but someone that has our own ambition. And that starts to show as we start to make our own calls. We begin to create our own crime syndicate, which is the best way to say it, but it isn't exactly correct. The reason it isn't correct is because we have a very small team, which kind of builds once we buy all these properties. The reason I say syndicate isn't the right word, because even though our properties funnel money to our pockets, the business for the most part are illegal, not all of them are. The taxi company, for the most part, on the up and up, unless they are taking out rival taxi companies. The strip club is the strip club, so take that as you will. And the club is also legit, except the planning we did in it. Even though you buy all these companies, the only thing that connects them is you, the owner. You don't really tie all these places together to make this big crime web. You, for the most part, just let the companies run themselves, since a lot of them have been running fine on their own. But this game is still mission based, so you still have to do missions to get to the next one. So in this game, you're forced to do a ton of things in order to see the credits roll. So most games don't force you to do side quests in order to finish the game. Mainly because if the missions themselves aren't fun, then why force players to do things they don't want to do? But thankfully, the story for these missions are actually solid. Now, even though overall I like the story in this game, I didn't like the gameplay because it kind of followed the same thing. For the most part, gameplay was you drive somewhere and shoot at someone's car in order to kill them, or you drove somewhere to shoot at someone. It was very repetitive, but what else do you expect from a first person shooter? Also, I played on Steam Deck, so most guns were actually in first person. But also, the game ran smoothly on the Steam Deck. So when you play it on there, you can easily run it without problems. Driving was the same mess, but better. Cars didn't flip over as easily, but when they did, you couldn't fix them. Well, unless you were in a golf cart. But that was about it. Cars were tougher in this game. Well, they felt tougher, so you didn't have to worry about your car exploding as fast. I think the thing I hated the most were cars turning abruptly, like I was driving in Florida. They didn't use turning signals and was never in the right lane, but were always making the right turn. I never wanted realism in the game so bad because these cars were always messing up my cars. I disliked one particular mission because of the driving aspect, which was the race. In one of the story missions, you have to race someone in order to convince them to become a driver. Street racing is illegal, which means that you will get the cops in your tail after a bit of racing. My main problem with this mission was that the cops only went for my car, not my opponent's car. That meant they were only trying to crash into me, and losing in this race caused you to fail the mission. Which is why I was bothered when the cops crashed into me and not into my opponents. I don't really care if the cops are after me in games, but give me equality. There are two people driving this race, which means that they should be after both of us. Sadly, this is present throughout the whole game. When you are shot at by gangs, and the cops mainly focus on you instead of them. I've dealt with this a ton in other games, where everyone focuses on you and not others. Also, I'm gonna put this in, but don't say, well, maybe the other car, worked with the cops in that. You didn't. I can tell you that. I can assure you that didn't happen because you kind of realize that later on in the game. Doesn't work with the cops at all, but just it's not a possibility. I'm just going to say it right now. So I feel like this game was kind of integral for GTA 5 because you find your crew and work with them to complete missions. You even have a heist mission. That kind of bothered me with how it ended. Maybe because our characters didn't really care how it ended, but we're happy it ended well. But a ton of this game was setting up to how the ending was going to shape up. The only reason we get hints is because every so often we get called by different people that tell us how they're feeling. A lot of times these missions are hinting towards what the next mission will be about, which is a lot better than 3, but again, this game came out after, so it should be better. The main changes from this game were the saves, the personality, and also having the crew. You can also buy property. But I didn't like that they didn't show what property was available to purchase on the map. I kind of wish that once you saw a purchasable property, it showed up on your map so you're able to purchase it later. I also disliked this system because unless you had a limited amount of money, you weren't able to buy anything. I did all the missions and still didn't have enough to buy all the properties I needed to finish the game. I had to do all these different side missions in order to do it. And I have to say, the best grind was the cop missions. Also, I learned that ramming into cars was the wrong way to destroy cars. You had to shoot at them in order to destroy them fastest. And this was good, but bad. It was good because it didn't destroy your car. But it was bad because the cops could be called because of the shooting. But if you finished the mission, then you would lose your wanted level. Same like in the previous game. You lost your wanted level by getting your car repainted, and also by completing a mission. You can outrun the cops, and your level will go down. But the best way is respraying your car for the low price of $100. Overall, I like the story, but disliked the gameplay. It was just boring to me and didn't really feel fun at all. The fact that you weren't able to save during missions made it feel like the game was testing my nerves. Also, I know saving during missions makes no sense, since you shouldn't be going to your house before going to a shootout. I tend to do that if it was nearby, since I could just refill in health and armor and some guns as well. I think there was one mission I disliked my core because of how it looked. So when I game, I turn off motion blur because it gives me headaches. But this game had a mission where this was unavoidable. You have to drive a hurt companion to the hospital. For some reason, you get blurry vision while getting them there. The hurt person wasn't the one driving, so it made no sense for us to see through their eyes. It was just dumb in my opinion. It even said that one of my friends wouldn't be able to finish this game because of this one mission. But I like this game a lot because you actually had a place to yourself, which was a mansion. You were able to save wherever you wanted to outside of the missions. You could also change up your outfits, which I truthfully didn't do unless the mission required it. The characters were memorable, but just like the first game, there were characters that were used just for like 2 scenes. You just forgotten. Now, I didn't mean forgotten by other characters, but we just didn't see them again. We meet a character called Mercedes in the first few missions of the game. She feels like she'll be a recurring character. She's only really seen for a handful of missions, but doesn't have a major role. She has been name dropped a few times, so we don't forget about her, but she isn't really important for our story. She's a daughter for a prominent character. and that is all her worth. I kinda wish they treated these characters better. Made them feel more important if they were going to keep name dropping them. If I were going to rank these games, I'd have to put Vice City over GTA 3 because of story and pacing. All in all, I had fun playing the game, and I'm actually excited for San Andreas. Main reason I'm excited is because the growth from the two games makes me hopeful that the next game will include saving from wherever you are. I have no idea if that is the case. I am truthfully doubtful that will be the case. I feel like saves will be at certain residences, but I have no idea if that will happen. Also hope that it is shown what to do at the end, because going around and not knowing how to end the game isn't cool. I really dislike that all the missions were done, and the game wasn't finished. Buying properties shouldn't be a reason you are locked out of the endings. And if that is the case, then it should be more well known. Show the properties around the map once you beat everything, so that the player can figure out that they need to buy them to complete the game. Properties don't show up on the map until you buy them, which isn't helpful before getting them. Also, here's the thing. I know this game is made in Florida. I was just making a joke, so which makes sense why the traffic's so fucking egregious. So, time for a life update, and we'll kind of talk in past tense, but basically future tense, since everything I'm going to talk about will come to pass before the video comes out. So tomorrow I plan to proofread the script, and then start writing the script for the other game I beat today on stream. Another GTA game script written in one day. I kind of wish I could do this for any other game. Also, I have an interview tomorrow for a tour, so hopefully that goes well. Most of the time I do an interview for a tour, I get it. I think I am 4 out of 5 right now for tours I interviewed for. The worst thing about it is I have to do it while on break for stream, so hopefully that doesn't go long. I say this when I'm breaking later than usual to break in order for it to work out with my interview. So, future only here. I did the interview and it went well. The person was 15 minutes late to the meeting, and I actually was about to leave before he came in. Rate wasn't bad, but definitely asking for more if he actually gives me the gig. Also, I have 2 tours to choose from, so we see if that comes to pass. Alright, I'm gonna add one more thing. So, that's messaged me this Saturday. He told me he was gonna be sending me a message later this week if I did get the tour or whatever, or just sending me an update. It is Saturday afternoon. Still have not gotten anything, so I'm just gonna believe I didn't get the tour. Again, I'll most likely post it in the next video, but yeah. Anyway, back to life updates. I also denied 2 other gigs because the pay was too low for me. One I did previously, but they overworked me for how little they paid me, so I didn't plan to go back. I was also working outside my department, and I'm not doing that again. The other one would be for a month, but would have only been $5 more an hour. I wanted more money, and they said no. I'd rather get paid more if you want to make me work in every department. Also, I was working on my e-bike last week and found a spoke that was broke. The spokes I bought were too long, so I had to wait till Thursday to get the right ones. I kind of hoped they were the right ones, since nothing really had measurements, sadly. So, it wasn't the right one. I had to actually measure them, because everything was in millimeters, so I had to basically do the math from millimeters to inches, which I could have just done millimeters. I work with tools, so I have a measuring tape. I haven't used my measuring tape in forever, but I used my measuring tape, found out that it's about like 8.5 inches or so from where the spokes go into to like the actual point. So I just bought around that size, and it should get to here today. Hopefully, we'll see. I also get my new desk the same day, but I don't really plan to build it until Saturday, which is the same day this is getting recorded, and also the same day I'm going to work on my bike. Plan for now is to record, put together a new desk, put everything in drawers that I can, then move over a new desk and set everything back up, while also doing cable management. Also, if I get that tour, that will be in the video after this. That video will hopefully be San Andreas, but it all depends if I finish it in time. I don't really plan to start the game until I finish writing the new script. I truthfully wanted to write it before finishing Vice City, but that didn't happen. That means I will have 2 scripts when I'm finished with the series, which is almost done. I only plan to do these 3 games since they are released closely after each other. So I'm gonna also add this in without script. I didn't start it, I finished the script, but I also proofreaded the new script I wrote of the game I beat, and I also proofreaded. I proofread the new script, and I also proofread the other script I wrote before. I just never got the chance to proofread it. I also want to get to GTA 4. I want to release the other videos before getting to it. I also want to turn to making videos from games I streamed again, which means GTA 4 will be played when I have time. Also, I haven't drawn in forever, sadly, but I will try to return to doing it. But I've been continuing writing the story I made. So that's the best thing about this. I plan to make sure progress is made, even if I go on tour. But that is going to be it for my Grand Theft Auto Vice City review. Tell me what you liked and disliked about the game. I'm going to go make my new desk and then work on my bike. I hope you all have a good week and an amazing day. My name is Only the Incubus, and that is my time. Later days. I love you all. Mwah. Saying consensual kisses. Hope you all have a good one. Love you all. Mwah. Bye. Bye. Love you all. Peace. Mwah.